too late, way too late, born too late to be a punk. Born too late, way too late, born too late for that outro, that outro.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Born Too Late podcast. I've got my pal Josh with me, and our special guest this week is we have Michael Lohrman from the Stitches and Marco from No Front Teeth Records, and they're going to be talking about their favorite frontmen, the singers that inspired them, that they look up to, that got them where they are today, I guess, in so many ways.
When you say the ones that inspire me the most, right? So we'll just start there. I think
Sure.
I've got the three J's, right? I've got Johnny Rotten, I've got John Denny, and I've got Jimmy Trash, right? John, and Jim. And those three guys right there, to me, are probably the pinnacle of fucking punk rock frontmen. You know? Marco, I'll pass it to you.
Okay, yeah, I completely agree. So they're not on my list. None of those are on my list. But what I got to say is that this was a super, super hard list to do, obviously, because there are just so many. And the way I've mostly gone about choosing it is vocalists that had an impact, instantly had an impact on me, maybe even before I was a punk rocker. So stuff I've never forgotten and stuff that made me want to look into things. So for example, like Wendy O. Williams is on my list because I never forgot the first time I saw Wendy O. Williams. I never forgot the first time, as in saw her on TV, obviously I've never seen her live, but like first time I ever saw her on video, or like Derby Crash, the first time I ever saw Decline of Western Civilization, that made me look into these people more. So that's kind of how I've chosen mine, because there are so many. Of course, Johnny Rotten is one for me, of course, but just so that's how mostly I've chosen mine. And for me, it's sometimes what the vocalist represents as a whole, not even necessarily the music with some of them. So we can
right. So it's funny you'd mentioned, some of the singers like before you were even a punk rocker, and what really stood out to you, right? So there were some things to me like, Little Richard, right? Like Little Richard, Jerry Lee Lewis, like these guys, when you think about what was going on, when I first heard them, I didn't know shit about it, right? But it was a little fucking rowdier than the other shit that I was listening to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the more I found out about these dudes, right? Like you've got this little fucking gay black dude screaming and dancing about shit in the fucking South. Like, I mean, that's just about as fucking punk as it gets, right? And then you've got this other dude lighting his fucking piano on fire and shit, and just like kicking shit around. And the way these guys lived, right? Like the more I dove into like that whole culture and everything is kind of what inspired me and really what connected me to other frontmen who took it to the next level, like Darby Crash, right?
Definitely.
So to me, the ones that were just fucking rowdy, you know what I mean? Like Stiff Baiters, Darby Crash, you know what I mean? Like Lux Interior, right? You think about the way these guys, like they just were fucking reckless, you know what I mean? And they had very little regard for fucking themselves at all. You know what I mean? They just kind of threw themselves around on stage and ate shit and kept going. And one of the guys that was super inspiring to me, like, once I started diving deeper into all of these other bands, and of course, like the Plasmatics were on my list as well, and I was just blown away by like, look how fucking like these guys are just outrageous, right? Like, look how they're dressed, look what they're doing. They're sawing shit in half, they're blowing up fucking cars, you know what I mean? They're half naked, they're getting fucking rowdy. This is excellent,
Definitely. And definitely
when I heard, go ahead.
For me, another thing about, obviously Derby's one of mine, definitely, is that there's a lot of intelligence behind these people that I think a lot of people didn't give them credit for. Obviously, the mainstream saw these people as pretty moronic. But when you watch interviews and listen to, obviously Derby Crash died really young, so he didn't get a huge chance to, show him his complete self, but like his lyrics were like genius. And I never forget, it was a quote by Don Bowles that was something like, with a little more luck and concentrated effort, Darby Crash could have fulfilled his plans to be the next Jesus Christ or Adolf Hitler or Charles Manson. Like, he was that much of a sort of powerful force. He was so intelligent. The fact that he went to that school that was like Scientology school, that like then him and Pat were accused of like brainwashing other people. They're just so intelligent, like unbreakable.
Well, what's really cool about all that kind of stuff, and I love the contradiction in all of it, right? Like the absolute fucking desire to self-destruct, right? Like living fucking no future.
Yeah, the 5-year plan.
At the same time being so fucking intelligent, right? Like, I don't know, when I was in little school, I heard a lot of shit like, there's so much potential. You know what I mean? And it just never fucking happened. You know what I mean? It was just kind of this downward spiral. And you look at the lyrics of people like fucking Darby Crash and I don't know, Shane McGowan, right? Ian McCulloch, right? Even just the minds of people like Keith Morris or like Jello Biafra, or like when you hear, they're so articulate and they're so able to fucking construct all of this stuff, and just the way their brains work. Like, I mean,
super intelligent,
super smart motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But with an absolute penchant for fucking self-destruction.
Yeah.
I
also love the fucking Darby Crash, like the influences he took were like from Nietzsche and Oswald Spengler and David Bowie and Mussolini and Freddie Mercury and like Dianetics, like all in one go. And it's like, no one thinks like that. And then all of a sudden,
it was funny though. So because for me, that's not how it started, right? I was not interested in intelligence, right?
Definitely not. Me neither. Definitely not.
What struck me was Johnny Rotten's appearance.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, fuck, that looks cool as shit. You know what I mean? And when I went to go watch, I was young and I would go watch these bands and even in America, like nobody looked like fucking Johnny Rotten. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there were a few people, right, that had similar styles, right? And moved in a way that was like, they just commanded the fucking stage and the audience. And like, mind you, the stage was 6 inches, right? And that's one of the things that I love about punk, is it was all right there on an audience level, right? So they were all people that you could fucking talk to. They were all accessible, right? So when I saw the Weirdos and you saw John Denny and do what he did, like he was fucking larger than life, but only 6 inches away. Unlike, you go see some of this bullshit fucking rock and roll Rush at the arena, you know what I mean? And fucking, you're never talking to any of these fuckers. And why would you want to? You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
But like, you could go and talk to John Denny and fucking the guy's like the nicest dude you'd ever met.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I remember, like, you talk to Joe Strummer, right? And the guy will ask you questions like,
he's the nicest guy in the world.
Where do you live? What are you doing? What are you up to? How, you're like, you give a fuck?
He's like,
you know what I mean?
An uncle or something. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah.
Right. And so that was what was attractive to me too. And then I just felt as a little kid like that, you know what I mean? I was a runt, you know what I mean? And I went to like a jock school, a preppy school, you know what I mean? And the trying to keep up with the Joneses and the whole bit. And it was just a lot of effort to try and fucking achieve like accolades for fucking positive movement, right? Like I was not going to be a fucking athlete, you know what I mean? And I was not going to excel in math, you know what I mean? Like I was fucked on all counts at school, you know what I mean? So when I saw that these people were excelling at negativity, right? It just came naturally to me. You know what I mean? Like I was already fucked. You know what I mean? And everybody was telling me. So it wasn't like it was a hard thing to try and achieve. And when I saw this, it firmly set my rudder in the fucking water. And the direction was like, set on course. So, a little bit later on, it was always the movement. It was the action. You know what I mean? Like,
well, definitely. When I was totally drawn to initially to characters like Sid Vicious, Johnny Rotten, Darby Crash, Steve Bators, Wendy O. Williams, purely because of like that rawness, that danger they had. But then when I got into it more, and you read an interview, or you see something in a video, and you see shit, these people are the whole package, because they can outsmart people that are trying to outsmart them. And to me, that was the ultimate weapon. It's like even Gigi was pretty clever at times.
he was, is it? And
he wasn't
funny. He catches quite a lot of crap, man. But I spent quite a few nights with the dude, and he was pretty fucking nice. He was just kind of like one of us. You know what I mean? He's a rowdy motherfucker, and he liked to do. He was mischievous. He was mischievous. You know what I mean? Fuck, so am I.
But there's one thing about Gigi Allen that I constantly say, and it's the fact that he is the single most important performance artist the world has ever seen, and he never gets the credit for that. Forget his music. You don't have to care about his music. You don't have to care about punk rock. In terms of high art, he's more important than Marina Abramovich, who gets the highest accolades. He's more important than Ron Athey. He's more important than Bob Flanagan. He's more important than I've forgotten the other guy's name.
But did you say he was more important than fucking McCarthy?
McCarthy.
Oh fuck. So, oh my God, I got Swiss cheese for brains. So fuck me on his first name. Is it Bob McCarthy? Ah, fuck, I can't remember. There's another guy, Chris. Oh shit. All my art school stuff's going out the fucking window right now. But the one fucking dude who got shot on purpose for art, right? The one dude, like, they're so I don't know. I kind of disagree as being like the single most important fucking dude for performance art.
But he did bring it to the public.
Yeah, he did. Fuck yeah, he did.
Purely to the public.
And that's the stuff. So, and I love the fact that fucking he brought shit like that to the public, literally. You know what I mean? And I love the fact that there was, so like, on the flip side of the coin, right? Like, what about people like HR?
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? You see those early performances of fucking HR. Like, does anybody fucking bring it harder than that dude? Like, could you imagine having to fucking go on after that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, fuck, you just look like a dud. Because nobody was fucking like a better moving, performing frontman. Nobody played faster. You know what I mean? And like, speaking of fast, right? Like John Void. Like, fuck, man, those guys, right? So like, Void was fucking amazing.
For sure.
Like, and just for the fact that like the energy and the fucking power that those guys brought to it was next level, right? So the other bands that were on the bill, they knew, like, fuck, man, I gotta bring my A game right now. You know what I mean? Just so I can fucking stay on the same page with 100%. These guys.
But like, the thing I just think about like Gigi is that it's that unpredictability and him really giving his all, because obviously the crowd also comes with their own agenda, so he doesn't really know what's going to happen to him either. Wendy O. Williams was similar, but it was more theatrical.
Well, you know, it's great. Speaking about unpredictability, right? Yeah. So Johnny Thunders.
Oh yeah.
So Johnny Thunders is one of my all-time favorites, right? And like, obviously I'm too young to have ever seen the Dolls, right? But I'd seen Johnny Thunders a few times solo, and he could be the best fucking performer you'd ever seen on one night, and then the next, the fucking worst.
Yeah.
And it was just so great. And that was part of it. It was kind of like, you know, the fact that the way you were just bringing, like, his version of 100% had very little to do with the audience's agenda. It was strictly his own, right? And sometimes the combination was fucking on point, and sometimes the cocktail was a little off.
I've seen Shane McGowan at both those.
Absolutely. And another one. So and there's a guy. So fuck, man. You know, I had conversations with Shane McGowan that had nothing to do with punk rock at all, and talked for hours. You know what I mean? And it was about books, and it was about authors, and it was about lyrics of singer-songwriter people, and stuff that had zero to do with you know, punk rock, and the stuff that we were talking about earlier, like that presentation, right? Like, you know, and Shane McGowan was certainly no slouch, with the nips and the nipple erectors and all that. Like when he first came onto the scene, like fuck, he was rowdy. He liked to get fucking, in it.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, so, I think a lot of these guys were just fucking, they were just kind of ahead of the curve. You know what I mean? And they didn't get it. And unfortunately, a lot of them fucking died before they even got the chance to fucking see where they would have gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
And it's just, it's kind of a shame when you think about stuff like that. Like, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think fucking Darby Crash would have done? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we'll never know. And what he left with was fucking great stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And is that good enough?
I mean, I think Gigi got worse as he went on. So
yeah, no, guaranteed. I think that it became more about his audience's agenda rather than his own. You know what I mean? I think that his early stuff, like the Jabbers, to me, it's just fucking phenomenal.
That's amazing. That's amazing. That's some of the best American punk rock, like
absolutely
top 10 stuff, I think.
Absolutely. But it's funny, like a lot of the people and how fast they moved on. So Gigi got worse, right? And a lot of people would argue that maybe, who can we talk about in that as the contradiction to, or the contrast to that would be, say, Howard Devoto, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So like he went from the Buzzcocks to Magazine, right? And like Magazine, I think was just it came too fast. You know what I mean? Like if that would have shown up, like even like today, you know what I mean? People would just be going, whoa, what the fuck, right? But when it first showed up, they were like, what the fuck is this, man? Like, this is just too fucking out there. I think the same thing kind of happened with Public Image.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, people still wanted the Sex Pistols, and they got Public Image, and they were fucking pissed.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. I remember because when I got into the Pistols, I got a Public Image album. The first one I got was The Flowers of Romance. And I was like, whoa, this is nothing. I was a kid. I was like, this is nothing like the Sex Pistols. So I wasn't, I mean, I grew to love Public Image Limited, but it was a shock at first because it's very, very different. Especially with a young teenage punk brain where you're thinking, more Johnny Rotten. This is not Johnny Rotten. So, but obviously I grew to really like it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny. Like I don't know. So speaking of like ahead of the curve. So how funny was it? Here you are, you're sitting there with COVID right now, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of like Dick Lucas's fucking lyrics hold more true today than they did in fucking 1982. Huh? I was like, oh, did you have a fucking crystal ball or what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I just got the Subhumans book. Actually, I need to start reading that. 40 Years of the Subhumans.
Well, so it was funny. Yesterday, I was sitting around and icing my back, and I was flipping through that Crass book that I picked up at the horse hospital when we went there that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the first time I had opened that book. It's just that's how fast I get around to this shit.
Yeah. It's amazing. Speaking of Crass, Steve Ignorant's on my list.
Right. And so on the intelligence factor, right?
Yeah.
Because for me, how do you remember that many fucking words?
Jesus Christ, man.
In one fucking song.
Yeah. I mean, like,
you know what I mean?
Like you're already dead. It's like, what the fuck? That's like, it's a book.
Right.
Like that song. Like,
yeah. And I'm so, back to my point on like, I was not interested in intelligence. You know what I mean? Yeah. All of the songs I've ever written have like 4 lines in it because I can't remember the 5th one. Yeah. And even now, when we go to play, I have to go tap Johnny on the shoulder and be like, what's the first line?
Yeah.
Because I fucking don't know.
You should see my set lists, man. It's got shit written all over it. So I remember what
just
first
so you
words
can
are.
try to keep up with what's going on there.
Yeah.
Like
remember what band I'm in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's what happens when you got 10,000 fucking bands, right?
But to me, like the first Crass album I ever got was Yes Sir I Will, which, I like that record, but it's definitely not the best Crass record. And in Steve Ignorant's own words, he said something like, it's an album you can't tap your foot to, and you put that on and you clear the dance floor. He said it himself. Like, so, but I remember that album kind of scared me with how aggressive and raw it was, but also how fucking intelligent it was. I was like, wow, if people are this intelligent and are like, these people can actually fucking change the world. Like,
well,
that's how I saw it. It was like aggressive, scary intelligence. I was like, wow.
Super aggressive, super scary. Yeah. The kind of stuff that, like, if your neighbors heard that coming out of your fucking bedroom as a little kid, you know that fucking there's going to be some problems at the next block party.
It's kind of like you fucking joined a cult or something kind of thing. But I was just like, I was so young. Before I was a punk, that even. And I was just like, but I remember the first song he ever wrote was Do They Owe Us a Living? And wow, I mean, what a fucking first song to ever write. Like,
well, yeah, so there was a guy, he just passed away. His name is Big Frank Harrison, and
I saw Ed Culver posted something about that. Yeah, I saw.
Yeah, so he worked at Zed's, right? And Zed's was one of the first record stores that I'd go to. And when the very first time I went in there, went in there as a little kid with my mom, right? And he probably just thought that was adorable. He's like, oh my God, look at this little fucking pipsqueak, you know what I mean, with his mom. You know what I mean? And like, I'm like, so what's good? What should I buy? You know what I mean? Which is kind of a scary question to ask, right? Because you want to make sure that you know everything, right? Like you can't like just be that fucking vulnerable. But I asked him, and he goes, "Here, buy this," and he sold me a Crass record, and I took it home and I fucking put that thing on, and I was immediately just fucking like, wow.
Which record was it?
At that stage of the game, the stuff that I had heard was, Sex Pistols. I'd heard The Clash. I'd heard, I had a Plasmatics record. You know what I mean? Like, I hadn't heard anything as fucking brash as Crass.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like, it was literally just like, wow, what the fuck is that?
Which record was it of theirs, the first one you got?
Oh, God, what was it? I want to say, you know what? I might have bought, I don't know. I don't know off the top of my head, but I want to say I probably would have bought probably Christy album, maybe.
Okay,
just because my mom would be like, okay, Mikey, you can buy 3 records. You know what I mean? If she was gonna buy them for me, right? What a fucking lucky little fuck I was, right? But if I was only gonna get 3, I'm gonna get more bang for my buck. Give me the fucking one that's got 3 records in it.
Yeah.
Hey, Mom, can I get 2 singles too? You know what I mean? That kind of shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I to be honest, I can't recall. I can't recall which record it was, but I do remember Crass being one of the first ones that I took home, and just fucking it blowing my mind.
Oh, 100%.
And just going, what is this kind of shit? Like, and it really made me want to dig into it. It really was. It was exciting to me. You know what I mean? Where, it opened all these different doors, and so every time I'd go back, I'd just hit him up. Hey, so what else?
Yeah.
And he would always point me to the import section. You know what I mean? So I ended up coming home with a lot of
Rudimentary Peanut.
I got Rudimentary Peanut. I got Flux of Pink Indians. I got, you know what I mean? Like a lot of, Subhumans, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All the stuff that.
All very intelligent stuff. Yeah.
Right. And when I started reading the lyrics and all of that, there was a lot of the politics that just didn't apply to the U.S. at the time. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah.
But what struck me, to circle back to your comment on the intelligence, was the fact that, like, fuck, man, these guys are like actually putting shit together. It's not just about no future and just fucking destruction for destruction's sake.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like they actually had some shit going on upstairs, and it was very attractive.
Yeah. But also the kind of danger they put themselves in was just amazing. Like, in order to do what they believed. I just love that. They get the skinheads against them, and like, just amazing to stand that much, behind what you believe in and stuff. And I think everything he did, everything Steve Ignorant did, the Stratford Mercenaries, Conflict, I think everything he's done is great.
So one of the things, and it's not just necessarily the front man, because I know that's what this was supposed to be centered around, but Conflict, their presentation, when I first seen them, they had 3 video screens going on before and during their show.
Yeah.
And it was just all black and white, all like CND, Animal Liberation Front videos. Like it was stuff, all just like full fucking, very hard to watch shit. You know what I mean? And very fucking like emotionally disturbing. Right. And the music, when it came out, it was a perfect match. It was like that perfect fucking match. You know what I mean?
Well, Conflict were like a more extreme version of Crass because, you know, Steve Winwood's always said, I never wrote a song about animal liberation. I never wrote a song about vegetarianism. I never wrote a song about anti-fascists. He never did. People take that message and then develop it further. That's what happens. And it becomes more extreme.
You know, I think now that we're talking about it, I remember it had to have been Christ the Album, because I remember that Existential Press fucking book.
Oh yeah.
Like just absolutely being absorbed into that thing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And just going, oh my God. Like there was so much info. And one of the tricks with all of our buddies was like, so on the way up to the shows, right, had this one kid, Pat Longpree, and he played drums in Uniform Choice.
Oh yeah.
And had another band called Unity later on, and he was a straight edger, right? But there wasn't any such thing as straight edge at the time,
right?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool because later on there were these fences, you know what I mean? But at the time, like that guy Frank that I was talking about, he never saw any fences. He never saw any of the fucking divide, you know what I mean, that was put there between people that either drank or didn't drink, or the people that were fucking, you know, hardcore or fucking peace punk or whatever. Like there was no fucking division or segregation between it in his eyes, and I always loved that about him. And we would all, part of the trick is to listen to your records and memorize the lyrics, so that when dude would pop in a tape, you guys could all kind of sing along on the way up, right? Like I'd be driving up the freeway with fucking, 5-6 dudes crammed into a Volkswagen fucking Bug, screaming along at the same time, right? And anytime a fucking Crass song came on, right, like on page 3, everybody got fucking lost, right? Like, what the fuck, man? Like, how do you do that?
Amazing. Did you ever hear that rap song he did, Steve Ignorant? He did a rap song called "Take Your Elbows Off the Table." He went to New York and heard people like scratching, and came back and was like, "Oh, we've got to make this music." And he made a record. I don't know. I think Crass only did a test pressing of it, and it never came out. But then he did do a version with, what was it? It might have been Schwarzenegger, his other band. I think they did a version of it. It wasn't the same. But
okay, so speaking about phenomenal bands making horrible mistakes.
Yeah.
Right. So we had D.D. King, right? We also had
D.D. King album's amazing.
Fucking horrible. And then so there's some. The last time I saw The Damned, right? So speaking of great frontmen, right? Like Dave Vanian has always been kind of like an.
Are you going to say that Captain Sensible made bad records because he didn't?
He said so. He said so. He came out and made fun of himself, right? And I can admire that, right? Like I can really admire the self-depreciation, fucking deprecating, fucking, I fucked up. You know what I mean? Like I love that kind of humility, and that dude, he's fucking great, man. And he came out, and by the way, I took my kids to go see him after one of their new records came out, right? And my kids are big Damned fans, as am I. And all they played was the entire new record and like 4 old songs.
Wow.
And fuck was horrible, man. You know what I mean? And I mean, it wasn't horrible. It just wasn't what we wanted. You know what I mean? It wasn't what we wanted. And then Two Bags calls me one night. It's like a fucking weeknight, and he says, "Hey, I got an extra ticket to go see the Damned playing." And I'm like, I don't know, man. He said, "Well, fuck, they got Rat back on drums and blah, blah, blah. They're supposed to be playing, all the old shit. Paul Gray's on bass, blah, 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 blah." So I'm like, well, all right, cool, I'll go. So I asked the kids if they wanted to go. Hey, you want to go see the Damned? And they're like, fuck no. And I even tried to coerce them. I'm like, no, man, I swear.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
fucking gonna be all the good shit, blah 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 blah, right? And they're like, yeah, we don't give a fuck, you know. And so I went there, and they literally 2 hours, and mind you, you know, I think I want to say weeks out of spinal surgery, right?
Okay.
Like I couldn't even fucking walk, still had a cane, the whole bit, and I was fortunate enough because it was a weeknight. I was able to weasel my way all the way up to the front, get against the fucking stage, you know what I mean? And kind of like corner myself against it so I wouldn't get fucking, you know, the hardware bent into my fucking spine by somebody ramming into me, right? And they played for like 2 hours.
Yeah.
And it was all the fucking hits. I think they played like 2 newer songs that were just kind of relevant, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And they were good. And it was amazing. And like, to think that those guys have been doing that for so fucking long and are still that fucking good and have that much fucking like, you know, what do you want to say? Piss and vinegar about it, man. It was fucking great. And Captain came out and he was like, oh man, I made this fucking rap record. And he was like, you know what I mean? Like it was so fucking great because I fully agree, man. I thought it was shit. You know,
I'm seeing him again. I'm seeing him again in December here, actually.
But I fucking hate rap. So there's that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the way they do it's different.
No, it's not.
Speaking of Crash that we just went before, another person on my list is Dave Insurgent from
Oh, right.
So him, I put him in the same league of just like super scathing lyrics, super intelligent, aggressive, well thought out, and obviously it's a really tragic story as well, but like
it is
just aggressively anarchist, socialist, anti-racist, but using all that imagery and stuff. Like that's something that made me pay attention like straight away.
Yeah, you know, do you know how many fucking Reagan Youth albums I sold to fucking skinheads? Because they just didn't get the fucking didn't get it, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what a fucking shame. Oh, and so speaking of skinheads and great frontmen, not that they have anything to do with it, but Nazi Dog, right? Stephen Leckie, he was one of my all-time fucking favorite frontmen, right?
Amazing frontman, yeah, amazing.
The Vile Tones, and again, for me, it was just the straight, just fucking self-destruction. It was just amazing, and I fucking still am drawn to that kind of shit, man. I am.
No, me too, definitely. Like
you know, it's just so. When I think about people that came out and just had like great presence when they came out on stage, right? So Spaz Attack, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he had a couple of bands, but like just what a great fucking presence, right? Did anybody dance as good as that guy? Besides maybe like what's his name? Was it Chaz from Madness? Right?
Oh yeah,
he didn't even fucking dance.
Yeah.
He didn't even fucking sing, right? He's kind of like a cheerleader.
Yeah. Bez from the Happy Mondays.
But does anybody fucking dance as good as that guy?
No, it's amazing.
You know what I mean, right? Like, I don't know, maybe like probably Axel G. Reese from the Gears could probably give him a run for his money, but fuck, maybe nobody else. I don't know, man. Pretty funny shit. Like, so speaking about good dancers and good frontmen, they don't have to be good dancers to be good frontmen. Like, I love Echo and the Bunnymen, right? And Ian McCulloch doesn't even ever fucking move.
No. Of course, different approach completely. I mean, you know,
but phenomenal shit. Like I love that. Like when you watch it and it's just that it's fucking class. You know what I mean? It's just fucking classy.
For sure.
So you know, classy. Speaking of Gigi Allen.
I'll tell you what, I've got a weird one on my list. I've got Dale Bosio from Missing Persons.
All right, fuck, man. So, okay, I got a great question for you.
Yeah.
Susie Sue or Dale Bosio?
Christ, that's really hard.
Fuck, I know.
I'd have to go Susie Sue. I'd have to.
Yeah, okay, good man. Me too.
Yeah. But I love Del Bosio, and I think she doesn't get enough recognition. Like she's like, you know, so many people stole her whole thing, like Lady Gaga and like Gwen Stefani and people like that. No one cares.
Absolutely.
No one cares about Del Bosio.
Not to mention, that first 4-song fucking EP is
That's
amazing.
That is amazing.
Like that's fucking top shelf new wave shit right 100%. There, man.
But like also she had like that sort of black and white film noir, like Jean Harlow, Marlene Dietrich kind of look that like, but also like mixed with like sort of not cyborg, but like androgynous kind of like, I don't know, but like doing like she was just so original at the time, and I think like people should still be talking about her today, and most people don't even know who she is.
Really. I think so too. So
certainly not here. Like,
talk about so original female singers, Polystyrene from the X-Ray Specs.
Yeah, super original.
Fucking like so great, man. The fact that she made all of her own shit and just had like, how fucking cool, right? And I just, like I think about that all the time, about how cool that is, and I'm always pushing that kind of stuff to my daughters. You know what I mean? Just to show them, like, hey, man, fucking chicks can do this shit, no matter where you fucking come from, what your background is, where you're at, in any of this fucking kind of stuff, man. Put it together and fucking put it up front, and lead with your fucking best foot forward, no matter how fucking oddly perceived your best foot forward is from the rest of the fucking world. Fuck them.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's one of the ones that really stands out for me, man. So I'm constantly telling my kids, like, look at this chick for an example. Like, if you want to see like how creativity can really fucking benefit you in all in all aspects of life. You know what I mean? Just fucking so good. And like, I think about, we had a version of that kind of here. So like Alice Bag was kind of like our version.
Okay. Yeah.
Of Polystyrene. I think so, at least.
I can see that 100%. Yeah.
Definitely. You know what I mean? She had very, very original homemade outfits.
Yeah.
Kind of a very similar mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Similar backgrounds, that kind of stuff,
Yeah. But
really
cool. I put Del Bosio up there with Terry Nunn from Berlin, Debbie Harry, Madonna, Cyndi Lauper. She should be in the same sentence as those people, but she never is for some reason. I don't know why.
I don't know, man. The last I heard, the only people that ended up in the same sentence with fucking Del Bosio was Sam Kinison. They kept saying that, because I always thought that the Del Bosio was so awesome, and they were like, yeah, she looks like Sam Kinison. And
I've got to recheck that. I don't think so.
I cried a little bit when I hear it. I don't want to verify. I will completely deny that to the fucking grave.
Could you broke my heart?
Fuck! Don't do it.
Well, while we're speaking about female front women, I've got another one. I've got Marian Anderson from the Insaints.
Fuck, do I even know who that is? Who is it?
Well, she's from a bunch of bands, but specifically the Insaints. So she was a big fan of Gigi Allen, actually, and Wendy O. Williams. But so she was from the Bay Area. She was actually the San Francisco Bay Guardian or something called her one of the wildest and most outspoken women to ever pick up a microphone.
Really? Wow.
She's amazing.
I love learning shit.
Everything she's done.
I don't know anything about this gal.
Yeah. So she's dead, but she was
damn it.
Yeah, she was in an experimental kind of art band called Five Fingers that was like really artsy. That was like one of her first things. And then in like 1990, I think she started the Insaints, and they're just a killer punk rock band. But she'd do kind of like really heavy autobiographical lyrics. She was like sexually and physically abused by her dad, so she'd sing a lot about that. And she used to say her thing was she used to do like sex acts on stage, and like urination and fisting and stuff like that. She used to say, I don't expect anyone to understand it. I just expect the right to be able to do it. Because she was constantly getting arrested for it. But she was like a sex worker as well. So she'd bring that to the show and stuff like that. Yeah. So she's
I've never even heard of it.
Oh my god, yeah, definitely look into them. Yeah, amazing. And then the Insaints like broke up, and she had another band after that called the Thrill Killers that were good too. But she kind of looked like a movie star as well. She was like really cool clothes and like, but like very, very powerful, like, you know, like unfuckable with, really. Like just
I love that. I absolutely love that. There was a period of time where I just didn't buy a whole lot of records. I think I lost faith in quality punk, and I started going backwards. You know what I mean? So when I went backwards, I ended up, going all the way back to like the rockabilly stuff that we were talking about earlier. You know what I mean? And that's where I learned a lot about some of these other people and started seeing some of the connections and stuff. And that kind of slowly started inching my way back through some of the other stuff and had a period where I was just fucking thought that Iggy Pop might have been the coolest fucking dude ever. Like when I think about cool frontmen, you know what I mean? I was like, man, for what was it? It was like 71, right? Like 1970, 1970. Like, what the fuck, man? You know what I mean? Like that guy was so ahead of the fucking curve.
For sure, yeah.
You know what I mean? And just one of the, like, talk about outrageous dudes, right? Like, could you imagine? He was probably looked at in the same light as this chick from the Insaints, right? You know what I mean? What the fuck are you doing? Like, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, you got no fucking shirt on. You got no fucking shoes on. Oh, speaking of no shoes,
it would have had an even higher
what
impact.
About fucking? What about Rick L. Rick?
Oh yeah,
fucking Rick L. Rick, man, like one of the all-time best fucking frontmen ever.
Yeah, amazing.
And doesn't get the fucking credit for it either. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think up until even just the last couple of years, any of the kids knew about Negative Trend at all.
Fucking amazing band.
Right?
Yeah.
And then to go on to think, I wonder could you imagine how good an actual studio fucking F-word LP would have been?
Yeah, just that. There's just that live one.
Yeah, they just got the Like It or Not, just the live one. But like a studio F-word LP would have been really fucking mind-blowing. But yeah, everything he did through, to the Slaves, Rick O. Rick stuff, the stuff off of Beach Boulevard, you know what I mean? Just fucking amazing, amazing shit. And always had that same kind of like class. Wasn't real highly aggressive, but just had like that, really had that command of the fucking stage and the audience and shit. I just loved it.
Oh yeah.
Really, like mesmerizing. You know what I mean? When you watch it happen, you're like, fucking wow. Cool shit.
Definitely. Yeah, man.
Trying to think who else can I like. So you mentioned a newer one. I'm trying to think of what are some of the newer ones that.
Oh, I've got a really new, well, not really new, but much newer than any others. I put Lumpy and the Dumpers.
All right. I haven't seen him play. Are they good?
I've actually never seen him play, but like everything he does, I think is fucking amazing. All the bands he's been in, oh my god, like just I love it. He always said my main inspiration is boredom. I think that's fucking amazing. So his artwork's amazing. That he just wanted to repulse people with his artwork, and I just love that because his drawings are all gross and like, weird creatures with dicks and stuff like that, and like weird heads and stuff. So really, really cool.
I know there's a couple. So there's a couple that I could probably mention that I don't know how new they are. Actually, they're probably closer to my age and your age. So have you heard of the East Side Suicides from Austin, Texas? So there's a kid, Frankie Nowhere. He's the singer of the band and skateboarder kid, similar taste in music as us, and it shows. His band's fucking great. He's a great front man. You know what I mean? Yeah. Everything that you would expect from it.
Yeah,
good shit. And Sean Wheeler. You know Sean Wheeler?
Yeah, for Throw Rag.
From Throw Rag?
Yeah, he's an amazing performer.
He's a fucking amazing front man.
Yeah.
I mean,
he
like,
can dance. He can dance.
Fucking smart and so witty.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he just has the ability to come out and just fucking just hold court. You know what I mean? And just
that guy
like
can
straight
move.
off the cuff.
He can proper move, that guy. Like, it's amazing.
It is. It's fucking amazing. And then
was it like a stripper or something?
I'm just gonna say yes.
No, he's a cool motherfucker. That I've seen.
He really is, man. And he's like, I love how that guy's fucking brain works. You know what I mean? And talk about the accessibility, right? Like, just you know, he'll sit and talk with you. He's like the coolest, most down to earth, fucking real motherfucker you'll talk to in a long ass time, man. And then can just get up there. But one of the funniest things is he does like costume changes.
Yeah.
I've seen him change clothes like 5 times during the same fucking set. And sometimes he doesn't even put the clothes back on. It's fucking amazing. And I swear, dude, that guy's he's hung like a fucking horse. It's insane, man. Like, nobody should be gifted with a dick that big, man. It's wrong. Like, I mean, it's got to be a problem. You know what I mean? How do you lug that shit around with you? You know what I mean? Like, there's no way he's a fast swimmer.
Well, he's a fucking good mover, so he
is. He can move, but maybe I don't know. Maybe he has really tight underwear. I don't know.
I got another good new one, actually. Moses Brown from Institute.
Ah, fuck. I love that guy.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah, that's great shit. Good call, kid. Good call.
I mean, he was also obviously in Glue and stuff like that, but obviously not as a frontman, but he's in Piste de Resistance, his solo thing, but specifically in Institute, fucking amazing.
Yeah, love that. Still have yet to have seen it, so I can't speak from a first-hand basis, but then again, I named Johnny Rotten, and I never saw that in the Sex Pistols, so fuck, what am I talking about? Still, that's never saw the Biotones either, and whatever.
Yeah, if it can have that impact on you without seeing it live, it's, you know.
But I love his records. I can see that would be fucking phenomenal, man. I mean, if we were just to talk about what kind of stuff is being written in some of the records that are, you know, out there right now, I think that there has been such a fucking resurgence in good quality fucking punk, right? Like, there's so much good music out there right now. And for good reason. You know what I mean? It's almost like when 2020 showed up, it was almost like 1980 all over again, at least here in the States. You know what I mean? And, and there was certainly no fucking shortage of lyrical content. And the kids were fucking pissed. You know what I mean? As they should be. And they're fucking letting them have it. And there
was time to do stuff as well. So.
Yeah. And I'm like, where is it? Where is it? And it took me a minute to dive down in it and to find it. But once I fucking struck that vein, man, it was a big one because there's a lot of good shit. A lot of good shit coming out right now. I can't even keep up.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah. Every year I'm like, fuck, this was better than last year. Like, it's crazy.
Right? Yeah. I know, because I keep thinking, I'm like, okay, so if 2020 was like 1980, here we are at 2024. If that would equate to like 1984, everything's about to go to shit again. It's gonna suck. Everyone's going to grow their hair, start wearing baseball caps and cargo shorts, and start playing fucking double kick drums and fucking shit. Like, you know, maybe I should just stop buying records right fucking now. You know what I mean? And it hasn't happened yet.
No, I don't think
they're still fucking kicking it out. Especially those kids from Australia. Those motherfuckers, whatever they got in the water on that fucking island, man. Amazing. They must be drinking a lot of it together because it's fucking good.
Have you heard the Unknowns?
They're just all inbred and they got the same fucking mom, you know?
You heard the Unknowns, the guys from the Chats, the other band. So good.
I haven't heard it. Why haven't I heard that? I hate when I haven't heard shit like this. Marco, you can't leave me in the fucking dark, dude.
Check it out, the Unknowns. It's like it's a bit more straight up like rock and roll punk, but it's fucking amazing, yeah.
And it's a brand new band.
I think they were actually around before the Chats, but they had like at the same time, but they had like a new album out.
Right. Like, I always get a little deterred as soon as there's a bunch of hype around something. I always get like, nah, I don't want that anymore. You know what I mean? Like, people try to tell me, oh, you got to check out the Chats. You know what I mean? They're this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? And depending on the source who tells me about it, you know what I mean? I'm like, no, they suck. Or maybe I'll check it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah, definitely. I mean,
I
that
guess I'm just a judgmental prick, man. I can't help it.
Well, I think bands like Amyl and the Sniffers were like way better, 7 years ago.
Well, so I just saw them the other night. I took my wife out because I'm like, I think that you'd really like to see these bands. You know what I mean? I think they're better live than they are on record. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think the records are essential if you like them live because it can kind of bring you to that space. You know what I mean? And you can get the visuals and the memories of it and whatnot. And I actually think that their records are getting better as they go along.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we played with them a number of years back, probably like you were just saying, maybe 7 years ago or maybe even more. Fuck, I can't even count anymore. Never could really. But they were phenomenal. They were fucking great. And I was like, wow, like, man, they can fucking they can bring some fucking action. And I love that. And you know what else I love too? So I didn't know a whole lot about this whole fucking scene going on, but like that whole Sharpie scene, right? And I love how a lot of the newer Australian bands kind of have a little bit of that influence in it. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the bands got a fast right hands. And you know what I mean by that, right? Like there's a lot of that fucking quick right hands, some of that fucking rock and roll AC/DC influence. I mean, some of them, we were just joking the other night, like, these kids are showing up and they're kind of look even like Bon Scott. You know what I mean? They're tucking their t-shirts in and they're fucking pulling their pants up high.
Yeah.
And they're fucking getting down with it. You know what I mean? It's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I was digging it. You know who else was fucking great to see? So we shared a stage with this band called Surfboard as well.
Oh yeah,
they're
cool.
And I didn't know much about them either. I had
she's an amazing front woman.
Right. So one of my friends that I grew up with, daughter, moved to New York and ended up becoming friends with this gal. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you would like this band." And so I would hear, she goes, "Oh yeah, one of my friends, she's singing in this band and blah blah blah." And so when we were gonna play with them, I'm like, "Oh cool, man, yeah, like maybe I should fucking text my buddy's fucking daughter, tell her we're playing with her friend and whatnot." And I was stoked to see that fucking, she could do it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
It was pretty fucking cool, man. And it was kind of like the same bit. You know what I mean? How Amyl and the Sniffers got this female front person that's just fucking getting rad.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, I think she's amazing, actually. Yeah,
I do too. And and I love the fact that like, she's got fucking like missing teeth and shit.
Yeah.
I find that fucking admirable. It's somewhat attractive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like she don't give a fuck. And it's funny, like everyone's so fucking concerned with it. You know what I mean? And I always have been, and that's one of the things that I like most about punk is fuck, man, you don't have to be a fucking centerfold, man. You know what I mean? You don't have to be some fucking guitar fucking not. Pro. You don't have to know shit. You don't have to be fucking anything. You know what I mean? And you can still get up there and fucking get with it. And all the fucking people that come to see you play are gonna get with it too. I fucking love that.
Yeah. I think Amyl and Sniffers definitely represent that. They're just like four normal people who are like,
that's what I'm saying. You know what I mean?
They do what they do,
and I like it. Yeah. I like the fact that fuck, man, they go out to watch other bands play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I like that. You know how you go watch a band and you look over to your side and you're like, oh fuck, there's so and so from what's the fuck band. You know what I mean? And it's just nice to see other people out there participating in the fucking gig that they're a part of. You know what I mean? Instead of just all about me shit. You know what I mean? Like actually giving back to the thing that fucking gave so freely to them too.
Definitely. Yeah, man. Yeah. Who else?
Oh my God. All right. So, who was a great frontman? And in light of all of many boring other English bands, no offense, Marco, that I'd seen during the time. But fuck, Annie Posty was great, by the way. I'll just throw that one out there, but that's not who I was talking about.
Okay,
like Annie Posty, they were like punkers. It was fucking, they were amazing, right? But I was, like, just kind of blowing it halfway through the song, fucking it up, laughing, starting over again, like that kind of shit. I really like that,
Yeah, definitely.
But so like Discharge, Cal from Discharge was fucking on fire, right?
I mean,
like when he came out and just fucking started going for it, and then the music that came right in back of him was so fucking intense. It was so fucking intense, right?
For sure. That's another band that had the same impact on me as Crass, actually.
Yeah.
Like, the first time, I've seen them a bunch of times live, but the first time I heard the record, I was like, whoa. Like, that was another sort of like ground zero moment for me of like, wow,
Same.
this is, yeah.
So, Discharge for me, it was funny. So I do remember the first Discharge record that I got. And again, Frank was the one who pedaled it off on me, and it was Fight Back.
Yeah,
and,
same. Okay, yeah.
And it wasn't their first record, you know what I mean? And much like my Crass experience, but dude, the first time the fucking needle hit the grooves on that thing, I was like, oh fuck.
Yeah. I mean, same here. Like,
this is heavier than anything.
They had a lot fewer lyrics than Crass did. They had a lot less lyrics than Crass. So.
Right? And I was like, oh shit. And by the way, speaking of which, the lyrics in Discharge and the way it was structured allowed me to write songs that didn't have to be like fucking 3 pages long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I wrote my own shit, I was like, fuck, man, Crass lyrics are like 4 fucking words total.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, or not Crass, Discharge. Discharge lyrics are like
yeah.
You know what I mean? They're like 4 words fucking, like, get it done. Just get it fucking done. You don't have to worry about it. As long as you're fucking bringing the action, it's good.
Definitely. But they had the ability as well to say so much with so little. Like
love it.
Discharge did. Like there's so much space around that gives you like you can really think about it and piece it together and stuff. Where obviously Crass is the opposite of that, where they're really, really hammering it home, like from every angle.
Yeah, man. Every time I think about shit like that, I love Nick Blinko. I love fucking Rudimentary P9. You were talking about Lumpy and his fucked up art.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, obviously Nick Blinko's
you know what I mean? And I just, I can't help but to just fucking, I have to mention Nick Blinko because
of course, yeah.
Everything about the dude is just expressive. You know what I mean? And being one who's slightly tweaked himself, I fucking can really relate with all that shit.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I can relate with the lyrics. I can relate with the drawings, the fucking sentiments, everything that goes along with it. And I swear to you, again, much like Discharge and Crass, for me, I bought Farce before I bought the first EP.
Right. Yeah.
And I swear, as soon as the fucking needle hit the grooves on that one too, I was like, oh my God, this one's even heavier than fucking Fight Back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, these guys are really fucking stepping shit up.
For sure, man.
Yeah, it was what a trippy time, right? Because at the same time you had all of these other bands going in the opposite direction, right? Like say Magazine and Echo and the Bunnymen and bands like that, where and then you had these other people that were bringing it harder and faster and heavier. You know what I mean? It really, there was just so much. There was so much to fucking take in. And it was all good. It was all so good and so fucking different. You know what I mean? Like we were going through, like showing the new records that I had bought, because I got a fucking problem, right? And every fucking bit, it's all so fucking different. You know what I mean? So we went to the show. Yeah. We went to the show the other night, and there's this Canadian band called I'm gonna fuck up the pronunciation for sure, but Baton Army or Baton Army.
Oh yeah, yeah, right? Great. Yeah.
Okay, so they opened for Soft Kill.
Yeah.
Right. And to me that was an odd lineup, right? Like it just kind of seemed to not like the sounds are so different. But how cool is that because so I dug it. We sat around through all the bands and checked them all out and had a great fucking experience with it all because the diversity was fucking there. And it was all good. You know what I mean? And my very first experience with punk was like that. Like every fucking band on the bill was different. They all had a different look. They had a different sound. You know what I mean? Like everything about it. And they all kind of
definitely closer to how it used to be. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
They were right. I wish we could fucking kind of get back to that where there's no fucking fences, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It'd be really fucking nice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'll keep it there. I'll just keep it to the music. But I wish people just would keep the fucking plot at the fucking center of their fucking intentions. You know what I mean? Like just fuck, man. Don't get so distracted from all this bullshit to miss out on the good stuff because it's fucking under a different title.
I suppose
you know what I mean?
In all our collections, these records sit next to each other. So what's the difference? These bands playing with each other.
Well, that's my point, right? You know what I mean? You go into the record store, right? You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. Yeah, there's a punk section and a metal section and a rocksteady section and a jazz section and a fucking new wave section and blah, 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 sections. You know what I mean? And thank God, because some of the record stores are so fucking, it's like Kmart, man. Like you go into Amoeba and I'll get overwhelmed and walk out empty handed because I just can't fucking take it. You know what I mean? Like
I've been to Amoeba, I couldn't believe
$500 worth of fucking records that I certainly don't need. I've got no place to fucking store at home anyways. And I'm like, yeah. And I just put it all down and fucking got to walk out. You know what I mean? Like, God damn, I need a Valium, please. Fuck, sit me down. But my point is that like, if they weren't categorized in these different sections, I'd just get lost by the time I made it halfway through the fucking C section. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, you go to the, I don't know, F section of punk, you're going to find fentanyl and then you're going to find flipper. And then, these are different.
Hey, okay.
They all belong in the same place, but the sound is different. So,
okay. Can we talk about Flipper for a minute?
Yeah.
Okay. So fucking Flipper is one of the best bands ever, period.
That was a band that took me a long time to appreciate because I was too young. I was too young.
Yeah, man. So they outpunked the punkers. They were way more fucked than anything. And they played, I think they were on tour fucking perpetually for like fucking years, right?
Yeah.
And they played with all of the hardcore bands. Like every single hard-hitting hardcore band that we were just kind of, fucking tossing around, these guys played with them. And they were slow and drony and fucked up on drugs and booze, and they pissed everybody off.
Yeah.
And it was fucking amazing. And when you like Bruce Luce, like when you go back and you look at it, right? So like Will Shatter, he's one of my favorites. So that goes back to my negative trend bit, right? So I think Rick and Will Shatter, like these people to me are fucking top shelf, man. And so just the fact that Flipper had Will Shatter in it alone, period, is like makes Flipper fucking like best band ever. And then you put Bruce Luce on top of it, who is just such a fucking agitator, man. Like you're talking about, you want to talk about like say Gigi Allen and this gal from the Insaints and all this, people that just kind of piss people off.
It's
because they
art.
want to, because they want the right to, right?
Yeah. Well, it's what
Wendy
Williams said. Passive art versus aggressive art.
Like Flipper, for being as fucking slow and dry, like the contrast, the contradiction in everything about them is just fucking genius.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like the smartest motherfuckers, you know what I mean? Playing the stupidest fucking music. Like and in that we have the Angry Samoans, right?
Yeah.
We got fucking professors playing the fucking like Bomb is fucking king, dude. Like Bomb is like the best shit fucking ever. Written by geniuses, right? You know what I mean? Like that's just how fucking cool is that, right? I'm in love with your
Angry
mom.
Samoans is amazing. Almost put them on my list, but yeah.
Right? Like got my fingers in you, babe. Wish they were in your mom. Like what the fuck, man? You're a fucking math professor. I love you. You failed me. That's just like the best shit ever. And while we're in the F section, can we also mention Marky Smith?
That's a band I've never liked. The Fall, I cannot. I've tried.
Right. So Flipper
I
fucked you up and the
I
Fall
under,
fucked you up. I fully can understand where you're
no,
at, man. You know what I mean?
Flipper I got with though. Like I've got Flipper records, but I don't own any Fall records. Like I just can't get with the dude. Like ugh.
Wait, you can't get with the dude or you can't get with the band?
The whole thing.
So you've checked out his interviews and shit?
Yeah, he's definitely an interesting dude, definitely, but it doesn't work for me.
So like you can't relate with passing out on wine mid-interview?
That's cool, but
I don't know. I personally I can relate with that, so I always thought it was genius. But I fucking not to say that I was genius, because again, I'm not really interested in intellectualism. But I think he's a smart motherfucker.
Oh, he's definitely
and I
smart.
love
Definitely.
the fact that the way he presented himself and the band was just so fucking like blah. Here I am. Like when you look at him, you know what I mean? Like it's really hard to like if you don't know old England, then when you looked at fucking Marky Smith, you probably wouldn't really get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like he is so fucking just tenement housing fucking you know what I mean? Like you just look at him and you're like, you're so 1972 fucking like East End, you know?
Yeah.
Don't you think? Like
I
just has like that hair and the sweater, Argyle sweater vest. And
yeah. He's definitely like.
It's fucking great. And he said, I think he's fucking genius.
Definitely, I can totally see that. It's just never. I tried so many times with the Fall, and again, I was introduced to that before I was like a punk. Not that they're necessarily punk, but like I just wasn't for me. I just could never.
Wow, like I don't know. Tim, like so his wife or ex-wife, I guess, Bricks, like what a great bass player, right? Like you listen to some albums like This Nation's Saving Grace, right? And there's bass lines in there that are just so fucking catchy and droning. It kind of has that Flipper-esque to it to me, where it's just like, I could see how this would rub a punker the wrong way for sure. You know? And like I Am Curious Orange, right? Like not too many people can do like, you know, a modern version of Jesus Christ Superstar, you know what I mean? Or like Tommy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's pretty fucking cool, man. To me.
Definitely, it's definitely like art, definitely. But like it's to me, I have to like the sound, and eventually I did like Flipper. So to me, I was like, I get it. But the Fall, I'm just like,
All right, so here's one for you. When we're done with this whole bit, go and just put Brainwash on and see how much you like Flipper.
All right,
okay. It's fucking unlistenable. I love it. Okay, here's a good one too. This is gonna fucking piss people off for sure. So Henry Rollins, great fucking frontman, period. For a year.
Yeah. Definitely a good frontman, but my least favorite Black Flag singer. But like, yeah. But,
I knew it was gonna piss somebody off, and I'm glad I got it right out of the way.
He's definitely a good frontman.
So this is super funny. So Black Flag. So I never got to see SOA. They're on the other side of the nation.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Love that single. Think it's fucking phenomenal. Love the shit on Flex Your Head as well.
Yeah.
Great stuff. You know, I'd seen Black Flag once before Henry Rollins joined.
Yeah.
And I went to go watch him when he had first joined the band, and they were already heavy. Like they already had a pretty heavy reputation. Like when you went there, you went to a Black Flag show, you knew that you were going to come out bloody, whether it was from fucking slam dancing or from the cops. One of the two, you were coming home with lumps. And when Rollins joined the band, it actually elevated that. It actually made it even fucking gnarlier. You know what I mean? He was fucking bald, right? He had tattoos. He was fucking angry. You know what I mean? And the music was fucking angry. And it was fucking grand. But like I said, for like a year.
Yeah. I mean, no doubt about it. The guy is an amazing.
And then to me, like, so Damage is a great record. I fucking like it. You know what I mean? But it ends there for me.
Okay. Have you heard Damaged with Dez?
No. Oh wait, I have, but I have that. Yeah, it's like a bootleg, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. So Dez was the guy that I saw first.
Okay.
And that was amazing to me.
Yeah, Dez rules.
Absolutely
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I tried my best to look and sound like Dez for a long time.
I mean, to be honest, like all the Black Flag singers are good. It's just Henry is my least favorite. Not that he's not good. He's my least favorite. He's a fantastic
I wasn't
frontman,
trying to put it on a comparison basis.
Yeah.
That's not my point.
No.
I just have to say that there was a minute where, as a frontman, Henry Rollins was good.
Definitely.
It was fucking good.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, so Keith Morris is one of my all-time favorites.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I love the Circle Jerks. Right.
Me too.
But, and this one's probably going to piss a lot of people off too. But I only like Group Sex. I don't even like Wild in the Streets. And I certainly don't like anything thereafter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like Group Sex is one of my all-time favorite fucking records.
Yeah.
And they had all of that stuff. They had the, you know, like, they're just fucking loose and they were accessible and it was fucking rowdy and just everything about it. There was a bit of that beach in it, right? So like, you know, I grew up here, you know, surfing and you know, as a beach kid, right? And they had a bit of that. You know, not that they were surfers, but you could tell, you know, I don't even know how to fucking describe it, man.
No,
anyways,
it's definitely got
it was tangible to me. They were people that like, fuck, I bet I know that guy. You know what I mean? That kind of shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And because you know, you look at a lot of the folks like, you know, you didn't see people like fucking Johnny Rotten. You know what I mean? You didn't see.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
You know, there was a lot of fucking Sid clones, you know, a little bit later on. You know what I mean? But you know, it was, I do think that the presentation, right? So I do think that fashion plays a lot into it, you know. But the Circle Jerks didn't really have a whole lot of that. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, outside of like Roger Rogerson,
he looked super cool. Roger Rogerson.
He was pretty much like the template. That guy was like the template for fucking, you know, Los Angeles.
Yeah.
Not even Los Angeles, for like the beach hardcore scene to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It was like that guy.
Chains and bandanas on his boots and shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so like cool. You know, you got striped shirts, you got fucking engineer boots, you got chains, you got fucking spike. We're like, you know what I mean?
Super cool. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You might drink a little bit too much.
You're definitely right. The fashion bit plays a massive role, especially the younger you are, because the younger you are when you see this stuff, I mean, it's like, whoa. So that's
like,
definitely.
You know, that's what was attractive to me. You know, like the dudes that were playing, the rock and roll dudes that were playing, you know what I mean? Like, to me, there's nothing fucking attractive about a dude with fucking long curly hair in a gold unitard. You know what I mean? You fucking look like an idiot. You know what I mean? And your music fucking sucks too. You know what I mean? And I can't tell if you're an idiot or not because I'll never meet you because you're in some fucking backstage. You know what I mean? Smoking coke with some fucking, you know, A&R guy. Fuck you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like you see somebody with a hand-me-down fucking 3-button fucking blazer with the fucking, you know, arm torn off that dad threw away because fucking, you know, it got caught in the fucking, you know, got caught on the fence when he was fucking jumping over the fucking back wall from the fucking bar that he just got kicked out of. And, you know, now it's yours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's to me, like, that's kind of the type of fashion that I'm like, fuck, that's cool as shit. And because I ain't wearing a fucking gold unitard. You know what I mean?
I've got one.
I mean, not like in front of you guys, you know.
You guys, as much as that, okay. So I just want to say one thing. So there's this podcast that I listen to called "Life of the Record," and this guy, he has these guests, and then the guy just does the intro, and he lets the guest talk. the whole time. And I'm like, that's so brilliant. Like, I wish I could do something like that. And I think I just achieved that. Guys. So, but
Congratulations, Jay.
because Josh, we're on Josh's Zoom and he has to go, we have to cut this off right now. But first of all, I want to say this has gone way better than I anticipated. So I want to thank both of you guys for coming on again. You don't know how much we appreciate your time. And I thought it was so great because you two are some of my favorite frontmen. And so I thought it was killer to have you guys come and talk about bands and frontmen that you guys appreciate. So thank you so much. And
Thanks.
I really hope that we can continue this or we can do it again sometime. We love having both you guys on here. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately, we have to end it.
That's all right, man. You know what? I could fucking probably talk about this shit forever, especially with Marco, man. You know what I mean? I love spending time with him and both you guys too. We should fucking try and tighten up the gap on that, right? So it's been a minute since we've had these kind of conversations, and I love doing it. So I'm honored and super stoked to have that you guys had me on your show, and I'd love to do it again anytime you fucking want. I'd prefer it if I could actually go over to Marco's house and sit in the record room, and maybe we can try that next time.
We should totally organize that next time you're here.
Yeah, I think that's probably
That'd
the way.
be awesome.
That would be
it
cool.
sounds like a great way to do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys could fit that in the budget, that'd be fucking awesome. And, yeah.
I'm also available to fly to the US anytime. So
Yeah.
No, thank you guys so much, man. It's an honor to do it. And again, anytime, me as well. I'm happy to do it anytime, man. So yeah.
Well, yeah.
Right on, man. And I know that I think, speaking of budget, I do think that these things shut off like at an hour, or you have to like put another dime in the fucking meter, don't you? It's kind of fucked. So I don't want to keep you guys any longer. Thanks tons for fucking having us again, man. And hit me up anytime because I'm down for it.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael.
Yeah,
Cool.
man. Have a good one.
Guys.
All right. You guys too. Take care.
Cheers. See you later. Cheers.